Hi, I'm Marian Giannopoulos, Superintendent of Lake Orion Community Schools, and this is the March episode of Inside the Dragons. Today you will have the opportunity to view 3 different episodes. The first one is March is Reading Month, so you'll be able to go into some of our classrooms and experience all of the activities that are taking place for this month for reading. All of our schools have different themes that they focus on, so I'm sure you'll enjoy some of those. The second episode is called Real Talk, and this is something that's occurring at our high school. It's an annual event where our high school students on a voluntary basis have the opportunity to come and meet with counselors and other volunteer adults to talk about self-esteem and stress and the kinds of things that they may be experiencing in their lives. The final episode is our new class at the high school, which is Forensic Science. This is where kids have learnings centered around crime investigation. Even in the greenhouse at the high school, we've set up a crime scene where they can actually explore different issues related to crime investigation. I know you will enjoy this month's episodes of Inside the Dragons.
Every March, students across Lake Orion find their excitement in books. It is a national program, and the schools in Lake Orion embrace its possibilities. The build-up begins in the weeks leading up to the month, and when March 1st arrives, the students are ready. On March 1st, Walden Middle School opened the festivities at 7 a.m., with students lining up outside the doors waiting to enter.
The students.
March is Reading Month for the Media Specialists is one of our biggest programs, and we love it because it gives us a chance to get students in to the Media Center who maybe haven't been in lately to check out books. We do a lot of different things throughout the district. My program here at Walden is called Get Caught Reading, and so kids come into the Media Center in the morning at lunch, and they read to kind of earn tickets, and tickets kind of then go towards incentives that they win. They win things that are donated by PTO or the Media Center, little trinkets, little gift cards. And the biggest thing, the exciting part for the kids is they end up going to the top readers, and the top star class who have collected the most reading tickets throughout March win a field trip with me to the movies. And we almost always try to make sure it's a movie that was a book. So this year it is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L'Engle, which is a fantasy book, classic fantasy book, and that's coming out right in March, so it's perfect timing. Kids love to go. Teachers participate also and can also win incentives and prizes and actually get to go to the movies also. So we have a great time. Kids also do Destiny reviews to kind of share what books that they love with other students, and they're doing a Flipgrid project where they're doing kind of little book commercials this year, again, to promote reading, share great books with each other, just to support the idea of a love of reading.
One of the unique parts of the month is that the program exists in nearly all of the buildings, but each in its own way and with its own theme. At Stadium Drive, the opening assembly featured the superhero theme, Reading is Our Superpower. In the lobby, there is a photo spot where a student or visitor can pose for a photo as a superhero, and in the library, there's a billboard with the Bracket Challenge.
Our March Madness reading bracket, and so we've chosen books that are all accessible online, and we've set it up by grade level, so each week each grade is assigned 2 books to read and vote on their favorite, and the winners will advance and we'll end up with our favorite book for the whole school.
When you choose a theme for the year, or for every school has its own different reading theme, what went into that decision and kind of how to roll it out?
So we liked the superhero theme, and then we found this logo online, and we thought it would be very cool to and tie that in with our whole reading theme. And we have shirts that we have for the staff to wear. We wore at our kickoff, and we'll wear probably once a week, and then at our month-end celebration.
Do you really notice the difference in kids this month, like being involved in the competitive aspect kind of really gets them into it?
Absolutely.
they're so excited. We have another board, our Super Reader board, and they fill in kind of this similar logo, but of themselves reading with the picture, and the kids are like racing to bring those back. We just sent them home on Thursday, and there's probably already 12 or 15 back up, and more come in every day.
Orion Oaks Elementary's PTO took the project to a different level. With the One School, One Book program centering on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the students were greeted on March 2nd with a decorated entrance with Willy Wonka sayings, and were handed the book by their own Oompa Loompas, mothers who made their own costumes.
So the school is reading for One Book, One School. The whole school is reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So we have an activity that's month-long where the kids will keep track of their reading. And as a class, 3 times during the month, they will collectively add up their minutes to purchase Wonka eggs. And inside those Wonka eggs, there will be bingo pieces or bad eggs. And the class at the end of the month, one class per grade, that has the most bingo pieces will earn a special Wonka party at the end of the year. A full Hershey bar chocolate at the end of the month. And a full Hershey chocolate bar, and then the whole school will be watching a movie in their classroom.
Carpenter Elementary's program centered around the winter's theme, calling it the Olympics, as students read for their teams.
This year at Carpenter, we're doing the Carpenter Reading Olympics, and students have a goal. Each grade level has a certain number of minutes that they are to read every week, and if students reach their goal, then they get to color in a circle, and we are trying to fill the Olympic rings. It's our big display that we have in our main hallway. And then at the end of the year, or at the end of the month, we have a goal of 150,000 minutes for the whole school. And if we reach that goal, then Mr. Walden takes each class out for an extra recess time later on when the weather gets a little nicer.
The whole idea of this being a month about reading, is that something the kids, can you see a difference that they're embracing that?
Definitely. They have reading logs and they keep track of their minutes. Every week they have a sheet that they have to turn in that organizes the activities for the week. We have turn off the TV slips that they are doing also. So if they turn off the TV and read instead, they get to turn those slips in and they can get chosen for to win a free book. We also have a bookmark contest that will be running during the month. We'll announce the winner of that at our closing assembly. So there's lots of fun activities going on to encourage more reading.
Between guest readers and competitions within the buildings, there will be a full month of reading and creativity on display. Lake Orion Community Schools has many wonderful programs, though few are as powerful and impactful as Real Talk. The full-day event, held on different days over a week for the various grades, is guided by high school counselors Michelle Novak and Carrie Hayes, along with teacher John Miles. It is designed to aid students' self-esteem and mental health. It has become a Lake Orion tradition over the years, with each year building on the previous success and finding new ways to help students. With adult facilitators from the community eager to participate, the day is organized from the start, prepping the facilitators on their role. Not just simply running the activities, the facilitator's role is to listen and allow the students to share. Once the day begins for students, there are large group activities, getting to know each other, and creating a comfort zone. The day continues with small group activities and conversations, allowing students to share their personal challenges and interactions in a safe, confidential space. By the end of the day, they've learned about themselves and about each other, hopefully strengthening their lives at home and their interactions at school, appreciating their classmates more than they knew. With the grades split into different days during the week, each group of 100 plus were among peers.
Can you tell me about Real Talk and kind of your wrap-up, how you thought it went this year?
Oh, it was an amazing year. I think that every year we do it, we think, how can we top that? And then with ending with the seniors on Friday, it was one of the best years ever.
What are the things that stood out about it?
I think what stood out about it is like how emotional it was and how kids really connected with one another, and we had a great diversity. Our population of students, 9 through 12, we had all kinds of kids from all walks of life, and I think that's the most amazing part.
And then one unique thing we had this year is we had A couple students actually go up to other students and apologize for some of the things they had done in the past and ask for a fresh start, and we watch that interaction happen. So I think it's the ripple effect of Real Talk is really, we're seeing it.
As it grows, it seems like each student kind of has a different connection, and it's a personal, even though there's hundreds of students over the week, there's a personal connection for each student and each facilitator. Is there some things that are unique about it, that it's evolved that way more than when you guys began it?
I think kids are really seeing that community members, that when they go to the bank or they go to a restaurant or they go to a store, I think they're seeing those community members as volunteers, and they're getting the feeling that their community does care about them. So I think I'm answering your question that the more we do this and the more kids see that other community members besides teachers and administrators care about them, I think they're getting that feeling and that personal experience for them, and that's hitting home for them.
The idea that this is very personal for each student, and they're willing to share in an environment where, you know, normally they wouldn't just share in a classroom without all of the different environments created that day. Is there something about that you guys have found is unique and you're able to share when you talk to other districts and that type of thing?
I think that we create an environment that's very non-judgmental. We create a very welcoming environment. Like when it starts right from the very beginning, when the kids get there, all the different activities that we do, and just seeing that they have like 30 community members or adults that actually care about them, it sets that tone of feeling welcome.
It's a whole day of events, and some of them are really high, like in the early morning with the parachutes and the goofing around games, and then it becomes very serious, and then you bring them back. Has that design evolved to try to find the way so it's not too much of one thing or the other?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of planning behind the scenes of what goes on in that day. John Miles, Amy Redmond, Michelle, and I sit down and we really brainstorm how we want the flow of the day to go. Those games and activities in large group and small group are created to break down barriers and get kids open to talking. And then after the cross the line, we really this year evolved our planning with catapulting them into a more positive outlook. I think with today's society, I think we need to teach kids that gratitude and hope are there, and if you really reflect on that, you can catapult yourself out of any kind of situation that you're in and have hope for your life.
Are you able to step away now, and now that it's passed and everything, and see the impact that it had on the kids, and kind of what and the impact on the facilitators as well, and kind of how it reached them and will continue to linger through their lives?
Yeah, now that it's over, I still hear kids talking about it in the hallways. I've had dozens and dozens of emails, and kids come into my office and thank us and thank me for everything we've done. I do think it just sets a really good, positive climate in our building and our community.
The newest class at Lake Orion High School this year is Forensic Science, a version of the widely popular crime scene investigation television shows. Students spend the semester learning about procedures associated with a crime scene. One is recreated in the Lake Orion High School greenhouse.
Music and I teamed together. We teach honors human anatomy together. We were looking for something that we could add another elective to our science courses, and so it just came about. We were kind of brainstorming one day. Every kid loves CSI. They like the Law and Order, the crime shows. So we just decided that we would look into teaching forensic science. And we attended a workshop at Lawrence Tech, a forensic science teaching workshop, about 2.5 years ago. And we petitioned the district and asked the district to add this class. And Mrs. Mercer's been very, very supportive of it. And this is our first year running forensic science, and we're learning a lot with our students as they're learning, because it's new to us and new to them. But it's something that they're very interested in because of Hollywood.
The challenge of the class is trying to make it as real as possible, given the classroom limitations. The crime scene itself helps that, complete with a mannequin lying on the ground after an apparent incident, students make some on-site judgments. On one day earlier in the semester, while one group observed the scene, others learned how blood splatters and from what distances and heights in the lab. The class was instantly popular with the LOHS students, and finding room for them all was a challenge.
It's a new class. offered this year, so when I saw it on scheduling, I just thought it looked pretty interesting. It's just something different from all the other science courses offered.
Are you fans of the TV shows? I mean, do you watch?
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of like NCIS and
Yeah.
all the different cop shows, so this was like learning what they actually do.
What was your motivation?
Yeah, same. I was like, it was a new class, so like I was looking forward to taking it. Also, I wanted to see if like criminology was something I wanted to study in college. So
I just think it's really interesting how it's really hands-on. Like you're constantly in the lab and you're working, and we have a crime scene set up and you're able to take pictures of it.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's like really cool how like specific forensics it can be, and like how you solve crime and stuff.
Definitely.
As Lake Orion continues to offer more unique courses, the teachers try to find ways to shake students from their usual way of thinking and find ways to give them exposure to different careers. The forensic science class is a cutting-edge example.
Wow. Well, it's science, so we learn what works and what doesn't work, and we're learning really how to run a class that has an abundance of consumables, things that we have to use up that are not going to be reusable. So we're learning how to do things, how to be creative, how to make things and do things that are going to mimic real life and not have to spend a lot of money to do it. So that's one of the things, trying to run it on a budget, but we're definitely learning more about just forensic science in general and the science behind it, and that forensic science doesn't necessarily deal with dead bodies. It can be in pharmaceuticals, it can be in computer technology. There's a lot of forensics going on out there in the world.
Thank you so much for viewing this episode, our March episode. We look forward to seeing you in April.
Inside the Dragons is produced monthly by the Lake Orion Community Schools in partnership with Orion Neighborhood Television. For up-to-date news and information about the Lake Orion School District, visit our website at lakeorion.k12.mi.us and watch us on Comcast Educational Access Channel 22 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99.